Hi folks, my A10 Warthog with its twin 30mm EDF jets has done its dash and it's now in the trash. I'm planning to replace it with a more conventional style aeroplane that will hopefully fly nice and slowly indoors. I'm planning to base my next model on the Canberra Bomber. In this video, I build and test a rough prototype for these not too light EDF jets. I want to get the weight and wing size right so that it flies nicely indoors. I plan to use what I call progressive evolution of the prototype as I gradually improve the model until I have a nice looking Canberra Bomber. I wanted this build to be simple, quick and light, and I plan to use 3 methods of building that I've learnt on my previous projects. That is foam cutting a sheet of expanded polystyrene for a fuselage profile, also 3mm printing foam for the wing and tail surfaces, as well as 3D printing for the parts such as the EDF mounts and control horns. The Canberra Bomber is about as wide as it is long with stubby wings. Also, the jet engines are embedded in the main wing. For this prototype, however, I chose to increase the wingspan slightly and mount the jets under the wing initially. I settled on these dimensions. Let's see how my first prototype went. I started with the 3D design for the EDF mounts, which required climbing the FreeCAD learning curve a little bit further. I toyed with several ideas on how to incorporate the EDF housing into the Canberra wing. I ended up with a very thin and light EDF housing mounted under the wing and not in the middle like on the Canberra Bomber. I drew a rough outline of a Canberra fuselage profile on a piece of low density packing foam, and I used my 5-inch hot wire to roughly cut this out. I used FreeCAD to create a template for cutting an aerofoil shaped slot in the fuselage. I also created a thinner version of this to reinforce the wing where it joined the fuselage. I cut out a simple wing shape from a sheet of A4 3mm printing foam. I cut 3 slits to allow it to bend to a simple aerofoil shape and filled the slots with PVA glue. I then pinned the wings to my foam aerofoil template while the glue dried. I created a short flat wing core from printing foam as well and connected the outer wings to this, giving a little dihedral for stability. I used 5-minute epoxy for this join. For the tailplane and fin, I cut these out of 3mm printing foam. I printed some small control horns and fixed them to the moving surfaces using Yoo-Hoo contact adhesive. All up weight so far is 79 grams. I attached the motor mounts to the wings using contact adhesive, and I installed the servos for the rudder and the elevator. I stuck the receiver onto the fuselage with double-sided gooey tape and used Velcro to attach the battery to a cutout at the front of the fuselage. Final flying weight came to 85 grams. It's amazing how many planes you can fit into a travel box. Here I am at Mullen Mullen waiting for some clear air so I can do a maiden flight.
Landing! Safely land.
And there goes the little easy fly that I based my maiden reloaded on. Whoops! The air is now clear, so I'm ready to do my maiden flight. Unfortunately, the first flight didn't go so well, and I found out that the low density expanded polystyrene that I made the fuselage out of was as weak as marshmallow, and it broke as soon as I did my first landing.
It's broken.
A wire splint and a bit of sellotape and we're back in business.
It's using very little throttle.
It's sitting in the air very nicely with its high aspect ratio wings, but when I come to build the final model, I'll probably make them more scale and there'll be a wider chord and more stubby. Now that the background noise has dropped, you can hear how quiet the twin EDFs are. I'm using about a third to a half throttle still in the air.
Can you keep back a bit? You're kind of blocking off half the fuel for me. Sorry.
Okay, so here are my lessons learned. First of all, the fuselage needs to be made of stronger stuff. I've already started making the new fuselage using high density foam. It's easy to cut, but it can be sanded so you get a much nicer finish, and it's really strong, so I'm hoping that one won't break. To make the wings a bit stronger next time, I'll put some tissue with watered down PVA on top of the slits, and this should give them extra torsional strength. The wing will look a lot different next time, and I'll probably make it more stubby like the Canberra Bomber. And I've already started designing a new EDF housing, which is mid-wing, and I've got the inner core sliding on this side and the outer wing sliding on this side. And because it's quite flexible, that should give me some dihedral. Oh, and my final conclusion is there was ample thrust from the twin EDFs for this size of model. I was able to fly it at about 1/3 to 1/2 throttle, so there was plenty of thrust there. If I use my new wing design, I'll probably lose quite a lot of thrust due to drag, but I'll do some thrust tests before I deploy that. Okay, so for the Mark II prototype, I'll be making a few changes. I'll be using the new EDF mount and wing design. I'll reinforce the leading edges of the wings with tissue paper and watered down PVA. The fuselage is made of stronger stuff, and I'll continue to design 3D parts as I get closer and closer to the actual Canberra Bomber design. And as usual, if you would like to track the progress of this project and my other projects, please consider subscribing to Dave's Fun RC, and then I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.